What'd you do? How'd you meet? What are you up to this weekend? Do you know how to answer these questions in English? Well, in today's lesson, you are going to practice speaking with me in English, and you'll be able to answer these questions with no problem. Hi, I'm Vanessa from SpeakEnglishWithVanessa.com, and in today's English speaking lesson, you are going to practice speaking English with my 8 most popular speaking lessons. I'm going to guide you through vocabulary you need to know, questions you need to answer, and you're going to see a sample conversation plus a chance for you to speak in English with me. I challenge you to speak out loud, to try your best, and really challenge yourself. And like always, I have created a free PDF worksheet for you for today's epic long English lesson. In this PDF worksheet, you will find all of the vocabulary from today's lesson, all of the questions, all of the answers, all of the sample conversations, and you will have a chance to write out your own answers to each of these conversations. That way you can practice by writing, practice by speaking, and during this lesson, practice by listening as well. I have included in this free PDF worksheet a quiz. This is a 20-question quiz to test yourself and see if you can really remember some of the vocabulary that you're going to learn in today's long English lesson. So, how can you get this free PDF worksheet and take the quiz? All you need to do is click on the link in the description, enter your name and email address, and voila, just like that, the free PDF worksheet and quiz will land in your email inbox. And do you want to know something even better? You never need to sign up for my free PDF worksheets again. I will automatically send them to you every week. This is my gift to you. So make sure you click on the link in the description to get today's free PDF worksheet plus quiz just in your email inbox. All right, let's get started with our first speaking lesson where you're going to practice talking about your weekend plans. Let's go. Are you ready to learn the most important conversation question of all time? At least according to me. Is that question, what's your name? No. Is that question, will you give me money? No. Is that question, do you love me? No, no, no. The most important conversation question is, there's actually 2 parts. What about you? How about you? When someone asks you about your weekend plans and you say a little reply, I'm going hiking, I'm not doing much, there might be an incredibly awful, awkward pause. What happens next? Well, this is where the most important question comes in. You can ask them, what about you? How about you? You can kind of imagine tossing a ball back and forth. The other person has asked you a question. What are you doing this weekend? They throw you the ball. Now you reply and you say, okay, yeah, I'm going hiking or I'm not doing much. You need to throw or toss the ball back to that person. And this question does that. How about you? It means you are asking the same question back to them. What are you doing this weekend? How about you? So I want you to remember this wonderful question. Either of them, actually, they have the exact same meaning. How about you? What about you? Remember these questions because later when we practice this at the end of this lesson during our conversation speaking time, remember these questions and use them. All right, let's go to some common vocabulary that you can use to talk about weekend plans. Brunch. Many Americans love brunch. The word brunch is a combination of breakfast and lunch. And that's because we usually eat this on the weekends, maybe a Saturday morning or a Sunday morning, between 10 a.m. and 2 p.m. It's a time when you could eat either breakfast or lunch, and it's usually a long social event. So you might go out to brunch with your friends or have your friends to your house to eat brunch. My friends and I are meeting at our favorite brunch spot on Sunday. Great. It's a restaurant where you can eat breakfast type foods, usually with some kind of alcoholic drink like mimosa or something with fruit in it, or maybe some champagne in the morning, and you can eat this in the company of your friends. Another common weekend word is social butterfly. A social butterfly refers to someone who makes a lot of plans. They are flying around to another event, to another activity. They're always doing things, usually involving lots of other people. They are a social butterfly. If you are a social butterfly, probably the year 2020 with lockdowns and all of these things were probably really difficult for you because you love to get together with other people and always be active. So we can use this in a sentence like this. My friend is a social butterfly. She has invitations to 3 brunches and 4 afternoon teas. Amazing. What if you are not a social butterfly? What if you are the opposite? Are you a unsocial caterpillar? No, it means you are a homebody. Your body likes to stay at home. I'm a homebody. She's a homebody. Someone who enjoys just doing things slowly and staying at home. They feel most comfortable in a comfortable place at home. You could say, my friend is a social butterfly, but I'm more of a homebody. When I get together with friends, I would rather have dinner at my house and then play games here. I think this is kind of true for me personally. As I get a little bit older, I prefer these kind of intimate group settings. Instead of lots of people, I prefer just a couple friends at home, maybe having a bonfire outside, roasting some food or some marshmallows, and this kind of intimate setting. I enjoy doing activities at home more often than when I was a little bit younger. To stay in. Unfortunately, that has been probably a lot of our weekend plans for the past year, and it means that you're just gonna stay at home. It doesn't mean you're gonna do nothing. It just means you're not gonna go anywhere. I'm gonna stay in. You might say, it's supposed to be cold and rainy this weekend, so I'm just gonna stay in and read a book. Or I'm just gonna stay in and do some things around the house. To binge watch. This means that you watch a lot of movies or TV shows, usually back to back without stopping. So several hours, maybe you watch 4 seasons of a TV show in one day. This is binge watching. You are watching a lot. This expression comes from a term we usually use with alcohol, to binge drink. This means that you drink a lot of alcohol at one time. It's not a very healthy thing to do, but when we say to binge drink, that has that same idea, is you're doing a lot back to back. Or you could binge watch TV. So you might say, last weekend, my husband and I binge watched all of the Star Wars movies. This isn't true. When you have young children, you do not have time to binge watch TV. But you might say this about your life. I binge watched that new TV show that just came out. Our final expression that you can use to talk about your weekend plans is to catch up on some chores. This phrasal verb, to catch up on, is a beautiful phrasal verb that you can use to talk about some kind of necessary activity that you haven't done for a while, and now there's more and more and more, and you need to finish all of this. So we can imagine laundry, dishes, sweeping, cleaning, maybe some home repairs, tidying up, maybe even yard work. If you don't do those things for 1 week or 2 weeks, oh, there's so many you have to do. So that means you need to catch up. You need to do what you haven't done for a while. You need to catch up on some chores. And chores are just those activities that I mentioned, laundry, dishes, these necessary activities that involve cleaning up, helping to make your home a wonderful place to live. So maybe this weekend, you just need to catch up on some chores. You might say, I was so busy all week and finally I'm going to catch up on some chores this weekend. Maybe not very fun, but when your house is clean, it feels good. All right, now that we have some common vocabulary you can use to talk about your weekend plans, let's talk about some introduction questions that you might hear and that you can also ask other people. These have varying levels of reductions and fast ways that you will hear them, so I want to help you understand and recognize what other people are saying and also be able to use it. So let's talk about our first question. What are you up to this weekend? What are you up to this weekend? You might know the expression, what's up? This just means, how are you? So we're using that same word up to talk about what are you doing this weekend? What are you up to this weekend? But do you think that we usually say it like this? What are you up to this weekend? So clear, so lovely. No. Instead, we're going to reduce this a little bit and then we can reduce it a lot more. Let's talk about that first one. What are you up to? What are you up to? What are? So here the word what and are creating a spoken contraction. Usually when we write, we don't write this type of contraction. It's only in spoken English, but oftentimes be verbs like are, is, will be contracted with a question word. What are you up to this weekend? What are you up to? We can reduce this a little bit further. What you up to? What you up to? What you up to this weekend? There are a lot of reductions happening at the beginning. What you up to? So here we have what are you being reduced to just what. The ch is you, and what are has just been smushed together, and we can say what up to, what you up to, what you up to, what you up to. This is really fast. If you say this slowly, what you up to? It sounds really weird. So we only use this in really fast English. So if you're going to say this, it needs to be quickly and reduced and linked together. Most likely you're gonna hear this. So I wanna make sure that you can understand when someone says, hey, what you up to this weekend? What you up to this weekend? You can say, oh, Vanessa taught me that. I know what that means. What are you up to this weekend? Yes. So let's go on to our next expression where we're gonna also reduce this a bit and help you to understand it. What have you got going on this weekend? What have you got going on this weekend? These all mean the same thing. What are you doing this weekend? But you might hear this expression with the word got. What have you got going on this weekend? When you actually hear this, we don't say it that clearly. What have you got going on this weekend? Wouldn't that be nice though? Instead, you're gonna hear a reduction or a contraction of the first two words, just like we saw with the previous example. What of. So what and have are gonna be pushed together. What have you got going on? That final G in the word going is gonna be cut off and we'll just say going. So let's try to say that all together. You wanna try to say it with me? What have you got going on? What have you got going on this weekend? What have you got going on this weekend? Do you think we can reduce this further? Oh yes. What do you got going on this weekend? What you got? Here at the beginning of what have you got is just really like you threw it in a mixing bowl, stirred it up, and threw it out on a cookie tray. Well, let's try to break it down so it's not quite so messy and complicated. At the beginning, we have what have you got? But it sounds like what this is what have. What ya is you. What ya got going? Again, we're gonna drop that G at the end of the word going. Going on. What you got going on? What? Notice what's happening at the end of the word what. Do you hear a clear T? What ya? What ya? Nope, that T at the end of the word what is going to change to a D sound. This is really typical of American English, where a T that's surrounded by vowel sounds is going to change to a D. It's called a flapped T, and it just kind of rolls off your tongue in a smooth way. What you got going on? Can you say it with me? What do you got going on this weekend? What do you got going on this weekend? All right, let's go to our last question. You doing anything fun this weekend? You doing anything fun this weekend? What's happening at the beginning of this question? Should there be another word? Yep. Are you doing anything fun this weekend? Are you? But the word are, it's on vacation, it's just gone somewhere. So we're gonna start this question with the word you. You doing anything fun this weekend? It kind of makes the question seem a little more casual and less like an interrogation or like you're asking someone out on a date. It's just a casual question. You doing anything fun this weekend? But we can reduce this question. We're not gonna reduce it an awful lot, but we will hear this reduced a little bit. When we say, you doing anything fun, instead, you're gonna hear ya doing, ya, the word you is reduced to ya. Ya doing, listen to that G at the end. Ya doing, it's gone. It's also on vacation. Maybe it's on vacation with the word are. So let's say, ya doing anything fun this weekend? You doing? That's the main reduction that's going to happen in this question. You doing anything fun this weekend? You doing? Try to say that with me. You doing anything fun this weekend? You doing anything fun this weekend? All right, let's go on to some other common things that you will hear in these types of small talk, easy, casual conversations. If someone tells you about their weekend plans and it sounds interesting or fun, how can you reply? You might say, that sounds like fun. Or, how interesting, or just simply, nice. If that person is doing nothing, they're just sitting at home, maybe they're gonna binge watch some TV and stay in, well, sometimes it's nice to still say something positive in response. So you might say, sometimes it's nice to do nothing. And that's true, especially if you've been doing a lot. Sometimes it's nice just to stay in and relax for the weekend. So you might say, sometimes it's nice to do nothing. All right, before we practice our sample conversation together, what can you say at the end? Well, if you're talking about weekend plans, it is before the weekend, so you could just say, have a good weekend, or enjoy your weekend. Simple, great way to end the conversation. All right, let's take a deep breath. Are you ready to put all of this together? What I would like you to do is first, I would like you to listen to this sample conversation. Think about the different parts that are happening. You're gonna hear our key, beautiful question, what about you? How about you? You're gonna also hear some of the key vocabulary that we talked about, and also just some of the questions, the introductory questions. What you got going on this weekend? Great things like that that we'll put together. And then I'm gonna put some pauses, and it's gonna be your turn to have the conversation with me. So first, let's watch the conversation sample. Hey, what you up to this weekend? Oh, nothing much. I'm just gonna stay in and catch up on some chores on Saturday. But on Sunday, I'm gonna meet up with some of my friends for brunch. That sounds fun. Where's your favorite brunch spot? I usually go to Sunny Morning Cafe. What about you? What have you got going on this weekend? I'm kind of a homebody, so I'll probably just read a book in my hammock. That sounds nice. Well, have a good weekend. Enjoy your book. Thanks, you too. Have a good weekend. All right, are you ready to take this to the next level? I'm going to be asking you a question and then pausing, and I would like you to reply in that pause. Take a moment, tell me about your weekend plans. You can do it. Let's go. Hey, what you up to this weekend? How interesting. How often do you do that? Oh, me? I'll probably go hiking since the weather's gonna be so warm. Well, nice talking to you. Have a good weekend. Great work practicing speaking about your weekend plans. Now let's talk about something even more exciting. You're going to practice speaking about your vacation in English. Let's go. In this lesson, we're going to talk about some common questions to ask about vacations, some common responses, and then you'll have a chance to practice this with me. Are you ready? I know that vacation this year looks a little bit different than most years because of, well, this virus that we have going around. So it's going to be a little bit different than usual talking about vacation. Let's first talk about some common questions and how to pronounce those naturally in English. Do you have plans to go anywhere this summer? Okay, this question is fine. You could use this full question. Do you have plans to go anywhere this summer? Okay, but there are a couple different ways to either reduce or slightly change this question that are a little bit more natural. Where you going this summer? Where ya, which is you, goin', dropping the G, where you going this summer? Where you going this summer? Or we could say, what you got going on this summer? Whatcha is what plus you. You becomes cha. Whatcha got going on. Again, we're dropping the G, but we're using a great phrasal verb, going on, going on. What's going on? If you go into a room and it's an absolute mess, you might use this phrasal verb and say, what is going on here? But you can use this also for vacation and say, what do you have going on this summer? Or reduced, what you got going on this summer? And it simply means, what are your plans this summer? What you got going on this summer? So if someone asks you this, you know that they're asking about your vacation plans. What you got going on this summer? Another common question is, are you doing anything fun for vacation? But we don't often say it as clearly as this, unfortunately, right? Are you doing anything fun for vacation becomes, you doing anything fun for vacation? Look at what's happening at the beginning of this question. Yeah. What happened to the verb are? Are you doing? It's completely gone. Maybe it's also on vacation. So we're going to start this question with just you, which is reduced to ya. Do you see how we reduce the word you in a lot of ways? Whatcha got going on? Or ya doing? Ya doing, we're dropping that G again. Ya doing anything fun? Something interesting happens at the beginning of the word anything. Ya doing anything fun? We link together doing because we're going to drop the G. It ends with the sound n, the N sound. And then the next word, anything, we sometimes drop the A, and we're going to push those two together because there's two N sounds side by side. You doing anything fun? You doing anything? This is one of the reasons why English sounds quite fast to English learners. If you watch a TV show and you say, what in the world did they just say? I have no idea. Well, it's because of these droppings, linkings. This is quite common in spoken English. So you can say this question with me. Are you ready? You doing anything fun for vacation? You doing anything fun for vacation? Let's go to our next question. Where are you headed for vacation? Where are you headed for vacation? This question is very clear the way I just said it, but it uses a wonderful verb, headed. This is, yes, your head, but it's talking about the direction that you're going, some place that you're gonna visit. So if you get a call from your mom and she says, where are you going? You could say, I'm headed to the store. This means that's the direction that you're going. You are on your way to the store. But we can reduce this a little bit and say, where ya, does that sound familiar? Where ya headed for vacation? Where ya headed for vacation? We could substitute the end of this for vacation and just say, where ya headed this summer? Where ya headed this summer? Where ya headed this summer? Do you notice that a great way to sound a little bit more fluent in English is to reduce the word you? We've talked about a couple different reductions, but a very common one is ya. Where you headed this summer? Where you headed for vacation? Great. Before we go on to some common answers that you can use to answer these questions, let's talk about something very important. The most important conversation question you will ever know is, what about you? How about you? We talked about this in the part 1 video I made, Speak With Me, about your weekend plans. Well, these two questions are essential. If you don't remember anything else from this video, please remember, what about you? How about you? We use these if you can imagine a ball. I'm holding the conversation ball. And when I ask you, how about you? Boom, I pass the ball to you. It is your turn to answer the same question. So if you ask me, where are you headed for vacation? And I say, not really anywhere. I'm staying home. What about you? I pass the question back to you. This is a great way to continue a conversation, so make sure that you keep that locked inside your memory because we're going to be using that a little bit later in this lesson where you're going to use these conversation questions and answers to practice speaking with me. All right, let's go to some common answers to talk about our vacations, especially in this world that we're living in this year. Because a lot of us would love to go on vacation and see the world, but we probably needed to change our plans a bit this summer. Let's talk about some realistic answers to these questions about where you headed this summer, what you got going on for vacation. Let's talk about some realistic answers. I'd like to go to Europe, but I think I'll take a road trip around the US instead. This is using a great sentence construction. I'd like to, but... So first we're talking about your dream, the ideal dream, and then we're talking about what you're really doing. I'd like to go to Europe, but I think I'll go on a road trip around the US instead. Or you could say, I'd like to go to a family reunion, but we had to postpone it. Okay, the ideal is going to the family reunion, getting together with all of your family members, but the reality is that you had to postpone it or delay it for another time. This is the reality. I wish that I could go on a cruise, but that's not happening right now, so I guess I'll order a pizza and go to the pool. Here again, we're talking about the dream and then the reality. You can make that reality special for you. It doesn't need to be too disappointing, but it's not your dream, your ideal dream. I wish that I could go on a cruise, but cruises aren't happening right now. I wish that I could. That's a great introductory phrase. I wish that I could go to a music festival, but it was canceled. So I guess I'll make a playlist and listen to music and dance in my backyard. I wish that I could, but this is what I'll do instead. All right, let's go to our third phrase. I was going to take my family to New York, but I think we'll go camping instead. Using this phrase, I was going to, talks about a plan that you had. Usually a real plan that you had. It's not just a dream. It's a plan that you had, and then you needed to change it. I was going to take my family to New York, but I think we'll go camping instead. So we have the dream, or maybe a plan, but unfortunately, that's not the reality. I was going to backpack across Italy, but I guess I'll stay home and learn how to cook some Italian dishes instead. This year is all about, and last year is all about trying to make some kind of compromise, a change in plans that's not too disappointing. I was going to backpack across Italy, but I'll learn to cook some Italian dishes instead. Okay, now that we have some common questions, don't forget our key question. How about you? What about you? And some common answers. Let's take a look at a sample conversation so that you can try to imitate this when it comes to be your turn. Let's take a look at this sample.
Hey, you doing anything fun this summer?
Well, I was going to go backpacking around Europe, but instead I think I'll just go camping in some local state parks. What about you?
Well, I was going to meet my family in Florida for a family reunion, but that got canceled. So now I think I'm going to have a socially distanced outdoor movie night in my backyard. Do you want to come?
Sure, that sounds great. Text me the details and I'll be there.
Great, I'll see you around. Enjoy your camping trip.
Thanks, I will. See you at the movie night. Okay, now it's your turn. Put together all of these pieces. I'm going to be asking you a question, then I'm going to be pausing. I don't care where you are living around the world, my ears are going to be listening to you. Then I'll be replying, and I would like you to take this opportunity to speak out loud. If you need to go back, review this section, do it again and again, and just gain some more courage, feel free to do it. This is a wonderful chance to speak out loud. Are you ready? Let's do it. Hey, you doing anything fun this summer? That sounds like fun. Have you done that before? I wish I could take my family on a trip to Switzerland, but with the travel restrictions, I think we're just gonna go on a road trip here in the US instead. Yeah, well, it was nice talking with you. See you later. Great work talking about your vacations in English. Now let's move on to the topic of food. You're going to practice speaking about eating out or going to restaurants and what you want to eat for dinner. Let's go. Let's start with some common questions for talking about eating out in restaurants. Since the pandemic began, a lot of restaurants have changed their service model. So these questions will cover eating in a restaurant, but also ordering food to go. So I hope that these will help you in any situation that you're in. Let's start with our first question. Do you want to eat out? This phrasal verb to eat out means at a restaurant. We don't often say, do you want to go to a restaurant? Do you want to eat at a restaurant? We just say eat out. Do you want to eat out? But we often reduce this question to sound a little more comfortable and casual. You want to eat out? Ya is you. You want to eat out? You want to eat out? We've dropped the question word completely. Do. Just ya. Ya. And then we have reduced want to become wanna. This is a common reduction in English. Can you say this question with me? You want to eat out? You want to eat out? Or we could cut off that first word ya completely and just say, want to eat out? Ask it with me. Want to eat out? Great. Then you might ask, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? But do you think we say it clearly like this? Unfortunately not. Instead, you could say, where you want to go? Where ya wanna go? So this is a similar reduction to our first question. You becomes ya, and want to becomes wanna. Where ya wanna go? Where you wanna go? Where you wanna go? Should we order pickup? Should we order pickup? I want to let you know that in the US, there are a lot of terms that are used for this idea that you're not eating in the restaurant, you're ordering food, but then you get the food and you take it somewhere else. Maybe you take it back home or you take it to a park. We could use a couple different phrases and it's just your personal preference. For me, I say pick up. Do you want to order pickup? Do you want to get pickup? But you could also say, should we order takeout? Should we order carry out? Should we order takeaway? So a lot of different phrases, and you are going to hear these all around the US, so it's just your choice what you'd like to use. Another fun question to ask what someone would like to eat is, what are you in the mood for? What are you in the mood for? Don't deny it. Sometimes in your heart, you're just in the mood for comfort food, something that's heavy and rich and reminds you of a cozy, warm time in your childhood. Maybe it's not very healthy, but you're in the mood for comfort food. Or maybe you're in the mood for something light. So you want a salad or sushi, something light. So this idea of what are you feeling like you want to eat? But we often reduce this question, and instead of saying, what are you in the mood for? We might say, what you in the mood for? Whatcha is what are you? Whatcha in the mood for? Here the word you has been reduced to cha. Cha. This is extremely common in spoken English that the word you gets changed up in a lot of ways. We already talked about one of those, ya, and this is another, cha. What you in the mood for? What you in the mood for? Or we could reduce this even further. What you in the mood for? What you in the mood for? This is extremely reduced, but notice what's happening. What are you in the mood for? The word are is gone, and the word you has been reduced to ya. So when we link together what and you, it's super fast. What you in the mood for? What you in the mood for? You don't want to say this reduction slowly. What you in the mood for? Now, we can say it like that to practice for this lesson, but when this is in daily conversation, it's really fast. That's the purpose of a reduction. So do you think you could say this with me really fast? What you in the mood for? What you in the mood for? What you in the mood for? Great. All right, let's talk about some common answers to these questions so that you can be prepared and ready. When someone asks you, what you in the mood for? You might say, let's order in. How about some option? How about pizza? Let's order in. This is another phrase for talking about bringing the food back to your house. You don't want to get all ready and then go to the restaurant, or maybe you don't feel comfortable doing that. So you might just say, let's order in. How about pizza? This expression, how about, is a great way to give a suggestion. This is excellent in professional situations. Hey, how about if we try this marketing plan? Or it's great for informal situations to give a suggestion about something you want to eat. How about pizza? What do you think about that? Sometimes this question is reduced and it sounds like this. How about pizza? How about pizza? The first A in the word about is gone. It's just missing. So we say, how about pizza? Can you say that reduction quickly with me? How about pizza? How about pizza? Great. Or you could say, I'm feeling tacos. Does that sound good? So you're giving your opinion. You'd like to eat tacos, but you also want to know what the other person wants. So you use a great question. Does that sound good? But we often reduce this a lot. So let's take a look at the first reduction. You might say, I'm feeling, cutting off that G, I'm feeling tacos. How's that sound? How's that sound? Instead of how does that sound, you can say, how's that sound? How's that sound? Can you say that quickly with me? I'm feeling tacos. How's that sound? I'm feeling tacos. How's that sound? Great. We can also reduce it and switch it up a little bit. I'm feeling tacos. Does that sound okay? I'm feeling tacos. That's what I want, but I want to know your opinion. Does that sound okay? Reduces to, does that sound okay? Does that becomes that. Does that sound okay? Does that sound okay? Can you say it with me? I'm feeling tacos. Does that sound okay? Great question. Because a lot of restaurants have changed over the last year, and you never know when a restaurant might be closed, it's a good question to ask, is Ted's Cafe open? I would love to go there. Is some restaurant open? I would love to go there. There's a little way that we can reduce this question. Take a look at this. Is Ted's Cafe open? I'd love to go there. The word would becomes I'd. I would, I'd. So you can say, is Ted's Cafe open? I'd love to go there. Can you say it with me? Is Ted's Cafe open? I'd love to go there. Great. In the US, a lot of restaurants are having outdoor seating. So you could say, let's go to Louis, a restaurant named Louis. Let's go to Louis and eat lunch on their patio. Eat lunch on their patio. This is like an outdoor dining area. It's really nice when restaurants have this because sometimes you don't feel like eating at home, but especially with kids, if you don't feel like confining them inside a restaurant, or maybe you don't feel comfortable doing that, if a restaurant has a patio, it's much more informal feeling, and it's kind of a nice spur of the moment thing to do. A great expression that you can use is, let's grab a bite at Louis. Let's grab a bite at Ted's Cafe. To grab a bite is usually a quick meal. It might be lunch. Usually it's not dinner because it's pretty quick, but it might just be a short experience. It's not a long dinner. It's not a big to-do. Let's grab a bite at Ted's Cafe because I have to go somewhere later. Let's grab a bite at somewhere else. Can you say that with me? Let's grab a bite at Ted's Cafe. Let's grab a bite. Our final answer to the question, what you want to eat, is I know a place, or I know a spot that has great pasta. I know a place that has great pizza. I know a place. You could leave this simple and just say, I know a place, come with me. But if you want to be a little less mysterious, you could just say, oh, I know a place that has great pasta, come with me, and you've got to try it. Okay, this is kind of maybe an unknown restaurant location that not many people know about, and it's a great phrase to use. Oh, I know a place that you're gonna love. Excellent. Are you ready to practice these? First, I would like you to watch the sample conversation between my husband and I as we talk about where we want to eat, what we want to eat. Think about those phrases, notice the phrases that we use, and then after that, you're going to have a chance to speak out loud and practice it yourself. Let's watch the sample conversation. Hey, you want to grab lunch?
Sure, but I only have time for a quick bite before my soccer game. What sounds good?
How about pasta?
That sounds great. How about I call it in, you pick it up, and we'll picnic in the park before my game starts?
That sounds great. I know a place that's close by and has great tomato sauce. All right, now it's your turn. I want you to use these phrases that you've learned. I'm going to ask you a question. We're going to have a little conversation together. It's your chance to speak out loud. So I'm going to ask a question and pause. Wait for your answer. No matter where you are around the world, I will be listening to you. So please take this opportunity to speak and use what you've learned. If you need to repeat this section again and again, do that. It's a great way to gain confidence as you speak. Are you ready? Hey, I'm hungry. Let's grab lunch. What you in the mood for? Oh, that sounds good. Do you know a good place? Oh, that sounds good. Do you want to eat there or get takeout? Great, let's go. Great work talking about eating in English. Now we're going to move to another fun topic, which is birthdays. You're going to practice speaking with me about birthdays in English. Let's go. All right, let's get started with some common expressions to talk about birthdays. Let's talk about some types of birthday parties. A birthday bash. This is a big party. Lots of people, lots of presents, lots of games. It's a big one. So you might say, we're throwing a birthday bash for my niece because she's turning 10. Double digits. Quite exciting. To throw a party. Are you holding the party and throwing it? No, I mean, maybe you're throwing some confetti, but this is just another way to say we're having a party or we're going to plan a party. We often use the verb to throw. You might say, we're throwing a party for my grandma's 90th birthday. It's going to be a big birthday bash. What if you're not a fan of birthday bashes? You want to keep things more low-key. You might say, a gathering or a get-together. This is something small and intimate, just family, a few friends maybe. You could say, I'm not a fan of big birthday bashes, so we're just going to have a little gathering at my house. Or we're just going to have a little get-together at my house. This is true for me. Usually for my birthday, we just have a little get-together at my house with a couple friends, maybe some family, nothing too big. Surprise! Oh, what did I just do? I surprised you because it's a surprise party. Usually with a surprise party, the person who is having the birthday doesn't know about the party. This is the ideal situation. So someone is planning, inviting guests, setting up everything, and they try to get the birthday person to come into that area without knowing anything, and they walk in and then everybody jumps up and says, surprise! So I'm curious, have you ever had a surprise birthday for you? Have you ever helped to participate in a surprise birthday? I don't think that I ever have, but one time when I was in college, my friends threw a surprise birthday party for me and another friend who has the same birthday. And I didn't want to go. I said, I'm studying. I have a test. I can't go down there. No, I'm not going to go have dinner with you guys. No, I need to study. And then one of my friends finally realized that I wasn't coming. And she said, hey, Vanessa, it's a surprise birthday for you. Come on. So I kind of had no choice at that point because I realized, oh, they're doing something nice for me. So you might say, we're throwing a party for Vanessa. It's a surprise party. Don't tell her. Well, unless you can't get her to come. Next, let's talk about some common phrases that are just associated with birthdays. The first one is RSVP. Now, this is occasionally something that we use in spoken conversation, but it is more common on a written invitation. It could be a physical invitation, or it might be an internet invitation using, Facebook events or something like this. But RSVP stands for the French "Répondez s'il vous plaît," and it means please respond. Please tell me if you're coming. So usually you will see this sentence: RSVP by June 30th. RSVP by Saturday, whatever date. So there's a deadline. Please tell me if you're coming so that I can order the right amount of cake, so that I can make the right amount of food. This is just a polite thing to do, to RSVP. Wonderful. Another common phrase for birthdays or for parties is BYOB. What if I said dinner and cake are provided, BYOB? What would that mean to you? Bring your old bag. Bring your old balloon. No, this means bring your own beer or bring your own booze. Booze is a slang term for alcohol. So this means I am not providing alcohol. If you want to drink alcohol, bring what you want to drink. Bring it for yourself. This is very common, and it's not really rude. In fact, it's good to tell guests if they are allowed to drink alcohol at your house and you're not going to provide any. It's good to tell them, I don't have any, bring your own. BYOB. This is quite a common expression, especially in an invitation. You might see that written. Dinner and cake provided, BYOB. Excellent. Make a wish. Usually after we sing happy birthday, you blow out the candles and you close your eyes and you make a wish. There's kind of a superstition that if you tell people your wish, it will never come true. So usually it's a surprise. I will never tell you what my birthday wishes are because it probably won't come true then. So this is kind of a superstition. But you might say, after I blow out the candles, I'm going to make a wish. But often you will hear people say this. So after they sing happy birthday and you blow out the candles, someone will say, all right, make a wish. And they're telling you this is the time to make a wish. This sometimes happens at children's parties more often, that someone will say it. So they're reminding their child, this is the time to make a wish. Close your eyes and make a wish. Don't tell anyone. So this is a fun little tradition, I would say. A goodie bag. This is like a little plastic bag of, in my opinion, usually junk that is given to all of the kids at a children's birthday party. I'm not a big fan of goodie bags because they're usually made up of junk. It's stuff that comes from the dollar store, and parents feel some kind of social pressure to give out a goodie bag at their child's birthday party. But usually those things just end up in the trash. So for me, I would rather do a craft at the birthday and the children can take home the craft. Or maybe there's an extra cupcake and the children can take home a cupcake. This seems a little bit better to me. I think that the idea of a goodie bag is falling out of tradition a bit, but there's still a little pressure to give something to your guests. This is only for children's birthdays, to give something to your guests. A sweet 16. If I said, I can't believe your daughter is already old enough to have her sweet 16. How old do you think that she is? 16 years old. For some reason, 16 is a big number. I think this is because this is when you can get your driver's license in the US. So it's usually just for girls. I hate to say it, but usually teenage boys who are 16 years old aren't usually labeled as sweet. Maybe that was just my experience when I was a teenager. But usually a 16-year-old girl might have a sweet 16 party. And this is a big birthday bash to celebrate turning 16. The next big birthday is turning 21, and this is for anyone, boys or girls, and this is a big birthday because you can finally legally drink alcohol. So a lot of people will have a 21st birthday party with their friends where they get to go to a bar, or they go to a pub, or they go to a brewery or a restaurant, and they get to drink alcohol in public. That's not to say that nobody drinks alcohol before 21, but usually your 21st birthday is kind of a symbol of, now I am an adult. There you go. After 21, you have to wait a long time for your next big birthday. If I said, oh, I don't feel that old, but Somehow I'm already over the hill. What do you think over the hill means? Well, the average lifespan is about 80 years. I think now it's a little bit more than 80 years old. But what is halfway? 40. So this birthday is a little bit dark, a little bit depressing, but we say that when you turn 40 years old, you are over the hill. And anytime after 40, if you don't want to tell someone your age, you can just say, I'm over the hill, or I'm way over the hill, because you are past the peak of life and now you're just going down the other side. Very sad. So usually if you go to the grocery store and you buy any kind of balloons or birthday bags or birthday decorations for a 40th birthday, they all are black or gray or have to do with like gravestones or skeletons. It's very it's a little bit silly because obviously when you're 40, you're still young, but it's just this silly idea that now, oh, you're over the hill. Our last birthday expression before we get to some common birthday questions is a trip around the sun. This is just another fun way to say that you're 1 year older. So if somebody is having a birthday, you could tell them, congrats on another successful trip around the sun. They have successfully gone around the sun one more time, which is 1 more year. Congrats on a successful trip around the sun. You did it. All right, let's go on to some common questions that you might get asked on your birthday, or you could ask someone else on their birthday. And we'll talk about some common answers as well. Any plans for your birthday? This is an extremely common question. If someone asks you, any plans for your birthday? You could say, yep, we're planning a big bash this weekend. It's going to be exciting. Or, no, we're just going to have a small gathering with a couple friends. Excellent. Any plans for your birthday? What do you want to do for your birthday? This is a great question to ask if you know that you will also be included in the birthday plans. If you are a family member or a close friend who will help to organize the birthday activities, you can use this question. What do you want to do for your birthday? That kind of is asking, hey, what should I plan for your birthday? And you could say, yeah, I'd like to have just a small get together at the house. Maybe we can have a cookout, maybe some cake, just some kind of small get together. A little bird told me it was your birthday. What would you like? This expression, a little bird told me, is kind of almost a universal idea, I think. A lot of languages have this concept of hearing something from a little bird. You're not saying who told you, but you're just saying, a little bird told me that it was your birthday or that your birthday is coming soon. Do you have this type of expression in your native language? It's a great one to use for birthdays. You could just say, a little bird told me it's your birthday. What would you like? You're asking for a present idea. What kind of present should I give you? And an answer to that could be, yep, my birthday is coming up on Saturday, but instead of a present, I'm asking that everyone bring some kind of food or drink to the party. Okay, you don't need presents, you don't need more stuff. You're just asking that people bring food and drinks to your party. Simple, and it's a good way to give at a party and participate. How old will you be? Or maybe if it's on someone's birthday, oh, how old are you now? Don't ask an adult this. I would say after the age of 21, usually it's not a good idea to ask someone, how old are you? Or how old will you be? In American culture, it is quite rude to ask someone their age when they're an adult. For a child, it's no problem. Children love telling people their age. Usually they're very specific, like, I'm 7.5. I'm 8 3/4. They're very specific about their age because they're so proud of it. But once we become adults, we become a little bit more hesitant to share our age, especially with anybody. And it's not required in social circumstances to say your age. So I recommend asking, how old are you now? Or how old will you be, only to children. When someone invites you to a party, you can ask, is it a surprise party? That way you can not be the one who spoils the surprise. So maybe they forgot to tell you, oh, it's a surprise party. So it's a good thing to ask, is this a surprise party? And they might say, oh no, he knows about it. Or he might say, oh yes, it is. Don't tell him. It's a great question to ask. Is it a surprise party? Do you need me to bring anything? Can I bring anything? This is a great question to ask anytime that you go to someone's house for dinner, for a meal, for even just tea or coffee, and especially for a birthday party or a holiday gathering. It's great to ask, do you need me to bring anything? Or what can I bring? I ask this all the time, and I really appreciate it when my guests ask this, because maybe it would be nice if someone else made the salad, or someone else made a dish for the meal, or maybe even someone just brought a game or something to do. This can help to ease the burden of the person who is throwing the party or just having a holiday gathering. So this is a great question to ask. I highly recommend it. And if someone asks you, oh, can I bring anything? You can think, okay, well, yeah, maybe bring your own booze. Or, yeah, do you have a favorite board game? Maybe after dinner we could play a game. Bring a game. Or could you make a salad? Could you make a dessert? Not even make, could you just bring one? You can buy it, that's okay. But this kind of question can help to have everyone feel like they're participating in the evening. All right, now that we've practiced some common expressions for birthdays, some common questions for birthdays, let's go on to our conversation. I'd like you to see this sample conversation that I had with my husband, Dan, about birthdays. You're going to recognize a lot of these questions, a lot of the expressions about birthdays. Listen to this conversation carefully, because in just a minute, Dan will leave and I will be asking you those questions, and it will be your turn to speak out loud. Let's watch the sample conversation. Hey, Dan.
Hey, Vanessa. You have a birthday coming up, don't you?
Yep, pretty soon. Another trip around the sun.
Cool. Do you have any plans for your birthday?
Yeah, I'm gonna have a big birthday bash. I would love for you to come. I can send you an invitation.
That sounds fun. Do you need me to bring anything?
You can bring your favorite party game and a big appetite for cake. All the other details will be in the invitation.
Sounds great. I'll be there.
Great, see you then. Okay, you watched the sample conversation. Now it's time to take a deep breath and practice this yourself. I'm going to ask you a couple questions, and I will pause. I will be listening to you, no matter where you live around the world. I will be listening, and we will be having this conversation. If it seems too fast for you, if you want to try it again, the good news is that you can click pause on the video and go back and practice it again. No problem. Are you ready? Let's get started. Hey, a little bird told me that your birthday is coming up. Do you have any plans? That sounds like fun. Is it a birthday tradition, or is that something new? Cool, I would love to come. Can I bring anything? Great, I'll be there. I can't wait to celebrate another trip around the sun. Great work practicing speaking about birthdays in English. Now we're going to move on to a less fun topic, but something that affects all of us. That is being sick. You're going to practice speaking about feeling sick in English. It's important, it's necessary, and unfortunately, it happens to everyone. Let's go. All right, let's get started with some common questions about health and when you're feeling sick. Do you feel okay? Or are you feeling okay? You don't look so good. Do you feel okay? I saw you fall. Are you feeling okay? These are great introduction questions when you suspect that someone is not feeling their best. Where does it hurt? I use this question a lot with my sons when they fall or get hurt and I see they're crying. After helping them emotionally for a moment, I often ask them, where does it hurt? Is it your arm, your leg, your stomach, your head? Where does it hurt? Do you want to sit down? Do you want to lie down? If you saw me walking around the streets not looking so great, this would be a great question to ask me. Hey, Vanessa, I'm glad to meet you, but you don't look so great. Are you feeling okay? Do you want to sit down? Here's a bench. Oh, I would feel so taken care of. Have you taken anything for it? If I told you that I had a headache, you could ask me this question. Have you taken anything for it? And it means, have you taken any medicine yet? Can you stand? Can you wiggle your fingers? Can you walk? This is sometimes an assessment that a doctor or maybe a parent would use. When I was a kid, my parents said this to me, and I say it to my children as well. It's a good way to see if they're capable of doing something, but I think it also helps your child feel like, oh, I can wiggle my finger. I'm okay. It's not too serious. Can I bring you anything? This is lovely. You're offering to help. Can I bring you anything? Maybe some hot tea? Maybe a hot pad to put on your back because it hurts. Maybe a chair so you can sit down. Can I bring you anything? Our final question is one that the sick person can ask. Do I feel hot to you? Maybe if you're feeling a fever coming on or you're just not feeling that great, and if you don't have access to a thermometer nearby, you might ask someone, do I feel hot to you? And they'll probably put their hand on your forehead, either like this or like this, and assess roughly if you feel hot, which means you probably have a fever and you're not feeling well. All right, let's talk about some common phrases that you might use when you're sick. I feel dizzy. Oh, those flashing lights are making me feel dizzy. I feel woozy. I had the stomach flu last week, and this week I'm still feeling woozy. It's just similar to dizzy, but it also means that maybe your stomach doesn't feel well too. I feel nauseous. This means you feel like you're going to throw up. I took some medicine without eating any food, and now I feel nauseous. Notice the pronunciation here. The S in the middle sounds like shh. Nauseous, nauseous. I hope you don't feel nauseous. I feel achy. It's kind of continuous dull pain, especially if you've been sick or you have a fever and you're in bed. You probably are gonna feel just achy all over. I feel clammy. Usually we use this for our hands when they're wet or sweaty, but it's kind of cold. I feel clammy. It doesn't feel great. I feel fatigued or lethargic, and this means you feel really tired. It kind of feels like you're swimming through the air. I just can't do anything quickly. I feel lethargic. And some general expressions about how you feel. You might say, I feel a bit under the weather. That means you're not feeling well. I feel a little bit under the weather, or just I feel under the weather today. I think I'm gonna cancel our get together. I feel under the weather. I don't feel so hot. This means I don't feel well, and ironically, maybe you have a fever and you actually are hot. But overall, it just means I don't feel well. I don't feel so hot today. Or you might say, I think I'm coming down with something. To come down with something means that you're getting sick. You're getting a virus or you're just getting some kind of sickness. I think I'm coming down with something. It's probably better for me not to go to the party today. And if someone else is sick, you can always tell them, get well soon, or I hope you feel better soon. Both of these phrases are very kind and it can help to express that you care. Get well soon, or I hope you feel better soon. All right, now we're gonna go through some vocabulary of some common problems or some common sicknesses that you might experience. I have a headache. Can you please turn that loud music off? If you have a fever, you should probably stay home. I fell and hit my head and now I have some blurred vision. I should probably call the doctor. A bee stung me on my finger and now I have swelling all over my finger. I think I need to take something. I might be allergic. I always have a stuffy nose, or I always have congestion in the springtime right now when all of the flowers are blooming. I always have a stuffy nose. I was sick last month and now I feel better, but I still have a little cough. I still have a little cough. I don't know what it's like in your country, but here in the US, if you have a little cough and you know that you don't have COVID, but if you cough in public, everyone says, "Ah!" and they feel a little bit nervous that maybe you're coughing because of COVID. But in reality, there are many reasons why someone might cough, but it's still in our minds and we're still a little worried about it, huh? I have a sore throat and it hurts to talk today. I have a muscle cramp in my leg and it hurts to walk. a muscle cramp. Notice that the C in the word muscle is silent. Do not say muscle. Instead, it's just muscle. My muscles are sore, or I have a cramp in my muscle. I have a family history of nut allergies. I have a family history of... This is a common phrase you might use at the doctor when the doctor wants to know what your parents or your brothers and sisters or your grandparents had problems with. They need to know that to better assess you. So you might use this phrase. I have a family history of diabetes. I have a family history of something. Another way to phrase this is diabetes runs in my family. We're not talking about running. We're just talking about something that's gone from generation to generation, and a lot of people in your family have this problem. So we might say, allergies run in my family. Diabetes runs in my family. Next, let's talk about some common vocabulary for things that might happen to you or someone you know. I jammed my finger playing basketball, or I sprained my wrist playing volleyball. I twisted my ankle and now it's swollen. I broke my arm when I fell out of the tree. I tweaked my back trying to pick up that heavy box. I cut my finger by accident with a sharp knife in the kitchen. My son tripped and skinned his knee. This means it's not so serious. It's not a deep cut. It just means that a layer of skin has come off. This happens often to children, especially on their knees or the bottoms, the palms of their hands. You might skin your knees or skin the palm of your hands. Oh, I pulled a muscle trying to pick up that heavy box. Now I need to sit down and put some ice on it. I pulled a muscle. If you are a parent, this probably happens to you a lot. I always stub my toe on my kids' toys. Maybe that means we need to clean them up more often. But if you have ever stubbed your toe, you know it doesn't feel any good. When you have any of these problems, you might go to the doctor, and the doctor might tell you to do something. The doctor might tell you to take some medicine. I have a headache and now I'm going to take some medicine. We often sometimes say, take my medicine. So you can either say, I need to take my medicine, it's 3 o'clock. Or you might say, take some medicine if you want to be more general. I need to take a Tylenol. I need to take an ibuprofen. These are the kinds of medicines that you might take if you have a headache, if you have some pain in a specific place and it's not a major injury, you might take an ibuprofen or you might take a Tylenol. I feel hot. I think I need to take my temperature. I need to take my temperature. The doctor said I need to take it easy for a couple days. This means rest and relax. We also use this phrase for someone when they're not sick, just to say goodbye. You might say, bye, see you later, take it easy. This doesn't mean that they should lay on the couch because they're sick. It just means have a good time. Have a relaxing weekend. Take it easy, a very common phrase to say goodbye. And we can also use this when someone's sick. Hey, you should really take it easy and don't do too much work this weekend. Just stay on the couch and try to recover. Take it easy. When I had the flu, the doctor told me I need to get a lot of fluids so that I would feel better. This could be water, it might be soup, it might be tea, some kind of fluids or liquid in our bodies. The doctor told me I need to get a box of Kleenex so that I don't sneeze everywhere and get other people sick. In the US, we often use the brand name Kleenex instead of saying tissue, but it's the same thing. You can also say, can you get me a tissue? I need to blow my nose. But a lot of people say, can you get me a Kleenex? I need to blow my nose. Ah, I cut my finger. I need to get a Band-Aid. A Band-Aid. This is another brand name that we use for a generic item. So you could say a bandage, but in the US, a bandage feels very serious. Like you have a big cut, only really a doctor would give you a bandage. But if you have just a small cut, you can use a Band-Aid. And if you have children, sometimes a Band-Aid solves many problems. If there's just a little cut, but they feel like it's so serious, a Band-Aid can always help. If you have a bigger cut, you might need to get stitches. Ugh, I really hope I don't need to get stitches on my finger. I hate needles. Have you ever had to get stitches? When I was in high school, I broke my wrist and I needed to get a cast. A cast is very hard and it helps your broken bone, for me it was my wrist, to feel better within a couple weeks and to be able to heal. You might need to get a cast. When you're simply not feeling well, you need to make an appointment or make a doctor's appointment, and the doctor can give you a more professional assessment, better than your friends and family and Dr. Google. It's a good idea to make an appointment. Another way to say this is, I'm feeling a bit under the weather. I think I need to see the doctor. I think I need to go to the doctor. These are all ways to say, I need to get a professional's opinion. So how are you feeling? We just covered a lot of questions and vocabulary that I hope you can use in your daily life. Now it's time to see a sample conversation. My husband Dan and I are talking about some time that I did not feel well, and he's trying to help me. Listen for all of the key phrases that you just learned, because after this conversation, it's going to be your turn to speak with me and use those phrases too. All right, let's watch. Morning.
Morning. Are you feeling okay?
I don't feel so hot. I woke up this morning feeling woozy, and now I feel achy and lethargic.
Oh no. Do you want to lie down? Have you taken anything for it?
No, I haven't, not yet. But I think I'm gonna call the doctor today. Do I feel hot?
Yeah, you do. Why don't you lie down on the couch and relax? Can I bring you anything?
I need to get some more fluids, so some hot tea would be great.
Well, you took care of me when I cut my hand and needed stitches. Now it's my turn to take care of you. So take it easy and I'll make an appointment for you.
Thanks, hun. Okay, are you ready? I'm going to be asking you a question and pausing, and I want you to use what you've learned today and respond to me. Pretend like we're having a conversation. If you need to pause this video so that you can think about it or answer for longer, great, you can do that. That's the benefit of a video, and you can always go back and review this section again and again. Are you ready? Let's do it. It's your turn. Hey, you don't look so well. Are you feeling okay? Have you taken anything for it? Well, you should take it easy and get some rest. Can I get you anything? All right, I hope this helps. Get well soon. I hope that you're feeling better after practicing about feeling sick in English. Next, let's move on to the topic of animals and pets. I want you to be able to naturally and comfortably speak about your pets you have now, or maybe pets that you had as a child in English. You're also going to meet my many pets in this video, so let's go. Are you ready to get started? Let's learn some common vocabulary about animals and pets. Let's start by describing you. Can you describe yourself? I'm an animal lover. This means you love all kinds of animals. You might say, ever since I first visited a zoo as a child, I have been an animal lover. I just love all animals. Or if you would like to be a little more specific, you could say, I'm a cat person. I'm a dog person. Usually we keep it to cats and dogs, but you might say I'm a horse person. Does that mean that you have a cat head? I am a cat person. No, this just means that that is your preferred pet. You like cats. So for me, if you've been watching my English lessons for a while, you know I am a cat person. I've never had a dog, but I feel like I relate more to cats. I get along better with cats and I feel more comfortable with cats. But maybe for you, you might say, I'm a dog person. I would rather have a dog. Or maybe you have this unfortunate situation. You are allergic to dogs. Or maybe you might say, I'm allergic to cat fur. I love them. They're so cute and cuddly and I wish I could have a cat, but I'm allergic. If your eyes start to get red and your nose starts to run, maybe your throat hurts, that's a bad sign. It means that you are allergic to some kind of animal. Maybe you can take some simple medicine and you'll be fine, but sometimes it's a bigger problem than that and you just can't have a cat. You can't have a dog. I hope you're not allergic. Now let's describe your pet. But a little note, first of all, something that I've noticed that's different between English and some other languages is that when we're talking about our pets or someone else's pet, we use he or she. We don't use it very often because it feels like you're creating some kind of distance, or it's a wild animal, or you don't really care about that animal. It's just an object, it. So for example, if I'm going to tell you about my cat, little spoiler, I have a cat, I might say, she is a Siamese cat. If I say I have a cat, it's Siamese, it's okay. And you will hear this occasionally, but it's more common to hear he or she. She's a Siamese. She likes to play with cat toys, he or she. And if you're not certain if an animal is a he or a she, like if you see a neighbor's dog and you want to talk to that neighbor about their dog, you can just say he and it's okay. The neighbor will maybe correct you and say, oh, yes, she's a poodle. And then you can say, oh, yes, what's her name? And you can use her when you find out. But in general, we use he or she for pets. A common word we use to describe pets is breed. What breed is your pet? But we often just say kind. What kind is it? So when we're talking about a dog or a cat, there are different types. So I already mentioned my cat is a Siamese cat. This is a specific type or breed of cat. What breed is your cat? Oh, he's a Siamese. She's a Siamese. What breed is it? But we often use the question, what kind is it? Which we'll talk about in our questions section in a minute. Another common term used with pets is a rescue. This is describing your pet. Both of my cats are rescues. I got them from an animal shelter. This means that I didn't buy them from a breeder who is making purebred cats. No, I went to the animal shelter. These are abandoned cats who need a home. I went to the animal shelter and I adopted, we often use the word adopted, I adopted 2 cats. They are rescue cats, or they are rescues. And this is the idea that I rescued them. Sometimes in the US, you see a bumper sticker, something like this, that says, my dog rescued me. Have you ever felt like this? Maybe you saved your dog from the animal shelter, but really, your dog changed your life. Your dog rescued you. You might also hear the word mutt. Mutt can be a little negative if you say it with a negative voice, but it just means that you're not certain what kind of dog you have. We only use this for dogs, and it means, well, it's a mix of so many different types of dogs that I have no idea. He's a mutt. We got him from the animal shelter, but you know what? He's the best dog I've ever had. He's a mutt, but I don't care. So it's that idea that he's not pure. He's not a purebred dog. He's a mix of so many kinds of dogs, but you know what? It's still a great animal. Next is fur and coat. My cat's fur is so soft. After I give my dog a bath, he has a silky coat. He's not wearing a coat, it's just talking about his fur. And these words are kind of interchangeable. He has soft fur, he has a silky coat. So great words to talk about animal hair. Let's talk about some words we can use to talk about how friendly an animal is. The first one is just friendly. He's friendly. You'll often hear this as someone is walking their dog, and if their dog wants to come closer to you, the owner might say, oh, don't worry, he's friendly. He loves little kids. And your child can pet the dog. Or you might ask, is he friendly? And that means, can I pet him? So it's a great word to use to talk about if your dog is comfortable with people. He's friendly. He's not very friendly with little kids, so we'll just try to stay away. There are 3 words that are variations of this. One is wild. Lions are wild. They are not friendly towards people. I do not recommend trying to pet a lion. They are wild. The next level is stray. We might say, that cat is a stray cat, or he's a stray. And that means that he lives on the streets and maybe he'll come close to people to get some food. He might not really hurt you, but he doesn't want to live in your house. Maybe if you adopt him, he'll want to live in your house, but he doesn't have an owner. He's a stray. He's a stray cat. Some cities around the world have a lot of stray cats or stray dogs. They don't belong to anyone, but everyone helps to take care of them. Everyone helps to feed them. In the US, this isn't very common. We don't have a lot of stray cats or a lot of stray dogs because animal shelters are a big part of American culture. A lot of people, when they want a pet, they will go to an animal shelter instead of buying a purebred dog or a purebred cat. So a lot of stray dogs or stray cats who live on the street will be taken to an animal shelter for someone to adopt. So you might say, my cat was a stray before we got him. He was a stray cat before we got him, and now he's just so friendly. The next level is domesticated. So this means a cat or dog or animal that was previously wild and now he's very comfortable with humans. So we could use this for a lot of different animals like cows. Cows are domesticated. A long time ago they were completely wild, or horses. Horses were completely wild, but they have become domesticated. Over time, people have trained them to become comfortable with humans. They are domesticated. We often use this term for farm animals. Horses, cows, chickens, sheep, goats, they are domesticated animals. Some animals just can't be domesticated, like a zebra. You can't ride a zebra. You can't domesticate zebras. It would be pretty cool, but they are just an animal that cannot be domesticated. Before we go on to some common questions that you will hear and that you can ask about pets, let's talk about pet care and some words that you can use to describe pet care. A cage, a crate, and a kennel are all the same thing, and it's somewhere that you can keep your animal contained. So you might say, I put my ferret, some people have a ferret for a pet, I put my ferret in the crate to take it to the vet, which we'll talk about in just a second. But it's a type of box where you will keep your animals, maybe to transport them somewhere or maybe just to help them feel safe and comfortable. We have a big kennel for my dog to help him feel comfortable when guests come over. He goes in there and he feels comfortable, and then when the guests leave, he comes out and feels very safe. A collar and tag. This goes around your animal's neck and has some important information like the pet's name, your phone number, maybe your address, and if your pet gets lost, well, someone can help you to find your pet again by calling you with the number that's on the tag on their collar. A collar is also useful because you can attach a leash to the collar. Sometimes this is called a lead. I think that lead is maybe more a term that professional people will use. A veterinarian will use this, maybe a dog trainer will use this, a lead. But for daily conversation, we often just say leash. Where's the leash? I need to find the dog's leash so that I can take him on a walk. One time I saw somebody having an iguana on a leash. Sometimes people put their cats on a leash too, but usually cats don't tolerate that. Have you ever seen a strange animal on a leash before? A vet or veterinarian. Usually we shorten this to vet. You've already heard me say this a couple times, and that's the doctor for an animal. So you might say, I need to take my sick dog to the vet. Or what is the best vet to take my dog to? We're talking about veterinarian, but it's a situation where we don't use the longest word, we just use a short, simple version. Yes, finally in English, there is a simple way to say a long word. So you can just say vet. My cat's vet is just up the street, or we have a vet appointment next week. Excellent. Now, I just want to let you know, if this is your job, if you are a vet and someone asks you the common question, what do you do? Which means, what's your job? And you say, I'm a vet. Well, this might be slightly confusing if someone has no idea that you work with animals, because a vet can be two different things. It can be a veterinarian or it can be a veteran. A veteran, that means someone who used to be a soldier, they used to be in the military, and now they're retired. So that means that you could either be an animal doctor or a retired person from the military. So if someone knows that you work with animals or that you're a doctor, if you say, oh, I'm a doctor, and they ask, what kind of doctor? You could say, I'm a vet. Okay, they will know that you work with animals. But if someone has no clue, you might say, I'm a veterinarian. You might elongate that a little bit just to be more specific. Or if you are a vet from the military, you might say, I'm a retired veteran, or I'm a retired vet, I was in the Navy. You might want to be a little more specific. So that's a situation that might possibly come up. What can you do to bond with your animal? You might play fetch. So you could say, my cat likes to play fetch. Who would have guessed? Usually dogs do, but sometimes cats do too. Or you could just say this word to your dog. So you have a stick, you throw the stick, and your dog runs after the stick. You could say, fetch boy, fetch, fetch the stick. So you're telling him, you're giving him a command about what he should do. Get the stick and bring it back to you. This kind of fun game. Or we might just pet your pet. Ooh. So this word can be used as a noun, as we've been talking about it. I have 9 pets. But what is this? Gently touching your pet. This is the verb to pet. When you are stroking or just gently touching your animal, this is a very kind, nice thing to do. Well, you are petting your pet. So if you're walking down the street and someone is walking a dog and that dog seems friendly, the dog wants to talk with you, and the owner says, oh, don't worry, he's friendly, you can say, can I pet him? Great, that means that you can stroke his head or his back or under his chin, and it's a nice way to enjoy a dog, to kind of connect with each other. Okay, are you ready to go on to some common questions that people will ask you about your pets and also you can ask? Let's do it. Do you have any pets? Very simple and straightforward question. You might say, when I was a kid, I had a dog, but now I don't have any pets. Okay, well, this is just answering in a nicer way than just, no, I don't have any pets. You're giving some information. When I was a kid, I had a dog, and now I don't have any pets. Good answer. When you see a dog, a common question is, what kind is he? We're talking about the breed of dog. What kind is he? It's sometimes unusual to see a purebred dog that's only one kind, only one breed. So you'll often hear this type of answer. He's a lab mix. We got him at the animal shelter. He's a mix. So this means he has 2 different, or maybe 3 or 4 different types of dogs in his blood. So we could say he's a mix or he's a lab mix, and this means he comes from different types of breeds. Another common question is, what's his name? Of course, you can just say your pet's name, but I wanted to give you some of the most common female pet names and also some of the most common male pet names in English. So the most common female pet names are Bella, Luna, Lucy, Daisy, and Coco. There are many other pet names for female dogs or cats or horses or who knows what, but these are some of the most common. In fact, one of my cat's names is Luna. Some of the most common male pet names are Max, Buddy, Teddy, Rocky, and Duke. These are really common male pet names in the US. A question we already talked about is he friendly? Great. Someone might ask you this if you have a dog, and you're welcome to ask someone else this if you want to pet a dog. Is he friendly? Yes, you can pet him. Another common question is, how long have you had him? And maybe this is not how old is he, but how long has he been a part of your life? So you might say, I got Max from the animal shelter 3 years ago. How long have you had him? I've had him for 3 years. If you mention that your dog or someone else mentions that their dog is a specific breed, you could ask this question: what made you decide to get that breed? Maybe you're just curious about that breed, you're trying to have a conversation, or maybe you're thinking about getting a dog too and you want some more information. So you could say, what made you decide to get that breed? And if somebody has, for example, a lab, which is a Labrador retriever, if somebody has a lab, they might say, well, I heard that labs are family-friendly dogs, so we decided to get one. Okay, they have a reputation for being good with kids, for being friendly. They're family-friendly, so we decided to get one. All right, now that we've practiced some common vocabulary about pets, some common questions about pets, now I'd like to show you a sample conversation between my husband Dan and I talking about some pets. After this sample conversation, it will be your turn to speak with me and tell me about your pets, or maybe the pets that you wish you had. And after that will be the big reveal of my 9 pets. All right, let's watch the sample conversation. Hi, Dan. Is that your dog? I thought you were a cat person.
Hey, Vanessa. I'm an animal lover, but Fluffy's not mine. I'm just walking him for a friend.
Oh, gotcha. Is he friendly? Can I pet him?
Yes, he's friendly. You can pet him, but watch out. He drools.
Oh, good to know. Well, I'll stick to my non-drooling cats. Oh, but good boy, Fluffy.
I'm gonna walk him at the park to play fetch. Wanna come?
Sure. Okay, now it's your turn. I'm going to be asking you a couple questions, and then I'm going to pause, and you can speak out loud and try to answer these questions and pretend like we're having a conversation together. If you feel like it's too short of a pause, feel free to pause this video. That's kind of the bonus thing, exciting thing about having a video conversation. You can pause me and spend some extra time explaining what you would like to say. All right, are you ready? Take a deep breath. Let's do it. Hi, I didn't know you had a pet. What kind is he? Interesting. How long have you had him? That's so nice. You know, I've been thinking about getting one too. What do you like to do with him? Thanks for your help and nice to meet you. Great work practicing speaking in English about your pets. Now we are going to move on to talking about emotions, your feelings in English. Maybe you're having a hard day. Maybe you're really excited because something wonderful happened. How can you talk about this naturally in English? Well, let's go and find out. Let's imagine that you've been going through a hard time. You've been working really hard at your job and you thought that you would get the promotion that you really wanted. And then it turns out someone else got the promotion. This is really disappointing. And you feel like it's not a good idea to keep it inside. You want to talk to someone about it. So you call your best friend and you say this: "Hey, can we talk? Hey, can we talk about something?" This is a good way to introduce talking about a difficult feeling that you have, especially if you don't really feel comfortable talking about difficult feelings. You're kind of getting their permission. Is this something that's okay to ask you about? Hey, can we talk about something? And if they're a good friend, of course they'll say, yeah, what's going on? So let me give you some next expressions you can say. You might say, I just need to vent. Do you know what a vent is? This is a vent in your car. That's where all the air comes out and it blows out without much filter or blockages. So when you need to vent, that means that you are just going to share everything that comes out. I just need to tell you all the difficult things that have been happening at work, and you vent to them. I often say to my friends after I vent, hey, thanks for letting me vent. It feels good sometimes. If you didn't get the promotion that you thought you were going to get, you might say something like this: I'm feeling really frustrated, or I'm feeling a bit down lately. Down means sad. Or I've been feeling a bit lost. Usually we use this term lost to describe a career goal that you thought you had, and it's not exactly what you thought it would be. You thought you could work hard, maybe get the attention of your manager and boss, and get a promotion. But when it didn't line up like that, you might feel a bit lost. What do I do now? I thought if I worked hard, I would get the promotion, and now I'm lost. I don't know what to do. When you're having a hard time, the next expression's a good one. I'm in a funk, or I'm in a rut. A rut is like a little dip in the road. It's not a great place. If you are in a funk or in a rut, it means you're having a hard time progressing and moving past the difficult time that you're in. So when you tell your friend this, I've really just been in a rut lately and I don't know how to get out of it, your friend might give you some suggestions like, hey, why don't we just go for a hike and get out in nature and you can vent, and maybe you'll have some clarity after that. That would be what a good friend would do. Or you might say, I feel really frustrated when I work hard and I don't get the promotion that I thought I would. Or you could use this in a positive way and tell your friend, I feel relieved when I can talk to you about difficult things. I feel happy, I feel relieved, I feel frustrated when I don't get the promotion. I feel relieved when I can talk to you. This is a great way to express your feelings. Or you might say, it's hard when other people get a promotion and I don't. It's hard when I thought I was going to get the visa to go to the US and I just got denied. What am I supposed to do now? I feel so lost. Or you could say, it's like I do all the work and other people get promoted. Or I just feel like I do all the work and other people get promoted. This is a great phrase to use when you're venting, when you're going through a hard time and you just need to get it all out. I just feel like I do all the work and no one else is doing stuff and I don't get the promotion. Ugh, I'm so frustrated. After you have shared everything, after you have vented, you might say, oh, thank you. I feel like I can be myself when I'm with you. This is a beautiful compliment. If someone says this to you, cherish that person. I feel like I can be myself with you. You don't need to put up any walls or barriers or pretend. I feel like I can be myself with you. And after you have vented, you might even say this, thanks so much for letting me get that off my chest. When you're going through a hard time, it feels like a weight is on your body. A weight's on your shoulders, a weight is on your chest. And when you speak, I feel like a weight was lifted. And you could tell your friend, thanks for letting me get that off my chest. Thanks for letting me vent. I feel so much better now. All right, so now we have just talked about when you're going through a hard time, but what happens if your friend is going through a hard time and your friend is telling you, your friend's venting to you about what's going on? How can you reply? What kind of little phrases can you use so that your friend feels supported and your friend knows that you truly care? Let's talk about those. If you notice that your friend isn't doing that well, you might say something kind like this. Are you feeling all right? You don't seem like yourself. Are you feeling all right? Notice my tone of voice. I'm not accusing them. Are you feeling all right? No, instead I'm really soft and empathetic. Are you feeling all right? You don't seem like yourself lately. And when they say, I just didn't get the promotion that I wanted, you might say to them a very kind question. Do you want to talk about it? You're opening the door and letting them know, I'm willing to hear what's going on and to listen to you. You don't need to feel worried about venting to me. Do you want to talk about it? And when they tell you they did not get the promotion that they wanted, you can use one of my favorite empathetic phrases that I use in conversations all the time. It's this. That must have been really frustrating. That must have been really annoying, really aggravating, really surprising. This wonderful advanced verb tense you can use, that must have been. You're kind of assuming what kind of emotion they might have, and you're empathizing with that emotion. That must have been really frustrating. That must have been really surprising. You worked so hard and you didn't get the promotion. That must have been. You can use this too. A question that you can ask your friend who's going through a hard time is this. What can I do to support you? Maybe they'll say, oh, nothing, but thanks for letting me vent. Okay, sometimes just letting someone vent is a great way to support them. But I recommend asking this because you never know what they might say. Maybe they have another stressor on their mind and they'd like to tell you about it. In my experience, when I'm talking to someone about a hard time, the other person, or sometimes me, feels uncomfortable talking about negative feelings and negative experiences, so you can use this expression to encourage your friend. If your friend says, oh, we don't need to talk about this, or oh, this is too depressing, we don't need to talk about it. Well, it is important to talk about, so you could say this. No, don't bottle it up. Don't keep it inside. Let's talk about it. This idea of a bottle and closing the lid and keeping those negative feelings inside, don't bottle it. It here is negative feelings. Don't bottle it up. Don't keep it inside. It's not a good idea because you'll probably explode at some point. It's important to vent, to get it out. So you're encouraging your friend, hey, it's okay. Don't bottle it up. This is healthy and important. And finally, when you're done having that feeling rich conversation with your friend, you could say, thanks for sharing that with me. This is a good conclusion that lets them know you really care and you're glad that they shared something difficult with you. It deepens your friendship, and here you're acknowledging that. Thanks for sharing that with me. That means a lot. All right, now that you just learned a lot of feeling expressions for you to talk about your difficult feelings and for you to hear and respond to your friends' difficult feelings, now it's time to take a look at a sample conversation between my husband Dan and I as we talk about our feelings. I want you to pay attention, listen for some of the key phrases that you just learned, because after that sample conversation, it will be your turn to speak with me about your feelings. Dun, dun, dun. Are you ready? All right, let's watch that sample conversation first. Hey, Dan, are you doing all right? You don't seem quite yourself today.
Not really. Can I talk to you about something, actually?
Of course. What's up?
Well, there's this thing at work, and I worked really hard at it, and my coworkers got all the credit for it. They didn't do anything. I feel like the more work I do, the less recognition I get.
That must be so frustrating. It's hard when you work hard on something and no one seems to notice.
Yeah, I just feel like if I say anything, they're gonna think I'm complaining.
Yeah, I get that. But don't bottle it up. You might stay mad at your boss and coworkers, and you might be distracted at work.
That's a good point. Well, thanks for letting me get that off my chest.
No problem. Thanks for telling me. I really appreciate it. I had no idea work was so stressful.
Thanks. Well, I gotta go. I'll see you later.
See you later. All right, now it's your turn to speak with me about your feelings. Don't bottle it up, get it out, and vent. I am going to be your friend today, and you are going to be sharing with me something difficult that is happening now or that has happened in the past in your life. So I want you to take a deep breath, and during this conversation, I will ask a question and then pause, and my magic teacher ears will hear you around the world, no matter where you are, so make sure that you speak out loud. If you need to pause so that you can speak longer, that's totally fine. If you need to review and go back to this section again and again to practice, go ahead and do it. That's the great thing about learning English online. All right, are you ready? Let's talk about your feelings. Hey, are you feeling all right? You don't seem like yourself lately. That must have been really hard. So here you can continue to tell me about the difficult time that you're having. What can I do to support you? Well, thanks so much for sharing that with me. I'm glad you didn't bottle it up. I really appreciate it. I hope you're feeling happier and more encouraged about English after practicing that speaking lesson. Let's go to our final speaking practice, which is going to be about shopping. You're going to practice talking about something that you wish you could buy, something that you already bought and you regret. All of these topics you're going to be able to speak about naturally. So let's go. Our first category of vocabulary expressions are things I want to buy. The first expression is I'm in the market for. You could say I'm in the market for a new car because mine keeps breaking down. Well, this expression just means I'm looking to purchase a new car, but it's not very emotional. The first expressions we're talking about here are not very emotionally driven purchases. I'm in the market for a new car. It's just a necessity. I'm in the market for it. The next expression is a little similar. I'm on the hunt for. I'm on the hunt for some ski gear for my upcoming ski trip. Do you know where I can get any on sale? Well, this is not a very emotionally driven purchase. I'm on the hunt for something. Okay, well, I need to buy it. It's a necessity. So I'm on the hunt for some ski gear. Do you know where I can get a discount? Our next expression is starting to get a little more emotional. I have my eye on a new bike, but I think I'm going to wait until I get a raise at work first. Here we kind of get the sense that I'm being pulled closer to that bike. I have my eye on that bike. That's the bike that I want to buy. But I don't have enough money right now. I'm going to wait until I get a raise at work and then I'll consider buying the bike. You get the sense that there's a little bit more emotion involved in wanting to purchase something. Now let's take the emotion up a notch. I'm drooling over something. Do you know what drool is? It's the saliva that comes out of your mouth. And if you're looking at something that you really love, maybe your mouth starts to water. If you see a beautiful, delicious dinner in front of you, you start to drool. Well, it might be the same for a purchase that's not food. You might say, oh, I've been drooling over that jacket ever since I saw it in the store. I think I'm gonna buy it. This is a highly emotionally driven purchase. I'm drooling over it. Another emotionally charged phrase about shopping is I've been dreaming about going to the beach ever since I saw that beautiful picture on Instagram. Has this ever happened to you? You see a picture of a destination and you think, I can't stop thinking about it. I need to go there. You start to dream about it, and that's what this phrase is. Oh, I'm dreaming about going to the beach. Hopefully I can make it happen. And our final phrase to talk about purchasing something that is extremely emotionally driven is this one. I'm dying to get, or I'm dying to buy. Hopefully you're not really dying to get something, but this is the sense every part of your being is longing for that item. So take a look at this sentence. My kids were dying to get tickets to the circus. There's this really cute circus that comes to our town every year, and there's about 6 performers. It's in a small tent. There's no animals. It's really wonderful. And this year, they were scheduled to come during the week that we ended up getting a really serious hurricane and flood in my town. So a lot of the kids around here were super sad. They were really bummed because the circus couldn't come. But guess what? The circus came anyway. They chose another location and they offered free tickets so that anyone who wanted to come, even if your house had been washed away in the flood, you could still come and experience a bit of joy. Isn't that such a beautiful thing? I love when people are giving and selfless. So we could say my kids were dying to get tickets to the circus, and even though everything stood in their way, a hurricane, a flood, natural disasters, they were still able to get tickets. How wonderful. Now that we've talked about phrases for things that we want to buy, let's talk about a few phrases that you can use for things that you have already purchased. Take a look at this. I finally bit the bullet and bought. This is kind of a tongue twister. I finally bit the bullet. Do you know what a bullet is? It's the little metal piece that comes out of a gun. Why in the world would you bite a bullet? Well, we get the sense here that you did something difficult, something that you really didn't want to do. So this is not an emotionally driven purchase. These first few phrases here are not very emotionally driven. In fact, you feel reluctant to purchase something. I finally bit the bullet and bought a new computer for work. You didn't want to spend money on that. This was not something that was exciting to you, but I finally bit the bullet and bought a new computer for work. You can use this phrase to bite the bullet for other things that you don't want to do too. Take a look at this sentence. I finally bit the bullet and called the electrical company. I don't want to call the electrical company. That's so frustrating. And you have to go and wait on the phone and go from this line to that line and pass from this person to that person. Ugh, I always put off calling the electrical company if I need to. But when you finally do it, you finally do a task that you have been avoiding doing, this is a perfect phrase. And now you are armed, ha ha ha, little joke. You are armed with this phrase. I finally bit the bullet and called the electrical company. And you know what? After 15 minutes, it was done. How great. The next phrase to talk about shopping for something that is not very emotionally driven is I upgraded my phone and now it takes really great pictures. Okay, well, maybe I'm excited that it takes really great pictures, but this phrase upgraded doesn't imply a lot of excitement. Like, oh, okay, I got a new phone. I upgraded my phone and now it takes great pictures. Cool. The next phrase to talk about purchases that you've already made that's not very emotional is this one. I invested in my business by taking an accounting course online. Well, this is not super emotionally driven. It's necessity driven, right? It's something that I need to do to help my business. I invested. So these phrases, invested, upgraded, we're not talking about high emotion here, but the next phrases are very high in emotion. For purchases that you already made that are emotionally driven, you might use this. I splurged on a kayaking tour on our last vacation. Well, when we use to splurge on, we get the sense that it's more expensive than I would want to spend. I splurged on it. I used some extra money to spend on this special thing or activity. I splurged on a kayaking tour while we were on vacation. You can also use this for smaller purchases that just feel a little bit expensive. So let's say you're at the grocery store and you're wanting to buy some chocolate and you see there's cheap chocolate, medium priced chocolate, and expensive chocolate. But you know that this expensive chocolate is so great. Maybe you could spend $1, $2, or $5 on a chocolate bar. And you know what? $5 is not that much money, but for a chocolate bar, it is expensive. So you might say, I think I'm going to splurge and buy the expensive chocolate bar. Well, you're probably not going to break the bank. That means use all your money to buy that $5 chocolate bar, but it feels expensive. So you can still use to splurge for purchases that are not too expensive, but they feel expensive. I'm gonna splurge and buy that fancy chocolate bar. The next phrase to talk about purchases that are very emotionally driven is I went for it. You can say this, I've been saving up my money and finally I went for it. I booked a trip to Hawaii. I've never been to Hawaii, but I would love to go someday. And we get the sense here that you've been waiting for this trip. I've been saving my money and I went for it. You get the sense that you're diving into the water. I went for it and I booked a trip to Hawaii. I just went for it. We don't know if this is a good purchase or a bad purchase. It could be a neutral purchase, but it's something that is exciting to you. I went for it. I decided to buy a trip to Hawaii. Our final phrase to talk about purchases that you've already made This is one that is highly emotionally driven, and it was a deal I couldn't pass up. Do you know what a deal is? This means the discount was so amazing that you just could not walk away. There was a deal or a discount. So let's imagine you're at the store and you see some shirts. There's a shirt that's $30, a shirt that's $20, and then you see this shirt, this navy blue shirt with little white hearts on it, and you think, oh, that's a nice shirt, I really like that. And then you look at the price tag, and it's only $5. What? Do you think that you're gonna walk away? No way. You're going to buy that shirt right away, and you're gonna say, well, it was a deal I just couldn't pass up. This phrasal verb to pass up means to ignore something. You're just going to walk away. Well, no way are you walking away in this scenario. It was a deal I couldn't pass up. Only $5, and I like the shirt. Great. All right, now that you have learned some important phrases to talk about shopping in English, it's going to be time to see a sample conversation between my husband Dan and I to talk about shopping. I want you to listen for the key phrases that you just heard, because after this conversation, it's going to be your turn to practice speaking in English with me. Let's go.
Hey Dan, what are you up to?
Oh, hey Vanessa. I'm on the hunt for a new TV. Do you know any sales going on?
Well, I just upgraded my TV. I can sell you my old one if you want.
Well, I have been drooling over this giant 65-inch flat screen TV over there, but I think I'll have to wait for it to go on sale.
I know what you mean. When the one that I wanted went on sale, I went for it. It was a deal I couldn't pass up.
I think I should just wait for the one I want to go on sale. That way I don't have to splurge on it.
Okay, well, if you're interested in buying my old one, just let me know.
I'll think about it. Thanks. Goodbye.
Bye.
All right, now that you've seen that sample conversation, it's time to get those speaking muscles ready, and we are going to have a conversation together about shopping. I'm going to ask you a few questions, and after each question, I will pause. I challenge you to speak out loud in the pause. I want you to answer my question. If you need more time to answer, you can click pause on this video, no problem. And you're welcome to go back and review this section as many times as you want. That's the wonderful thing about learning English online. All right, let's get started with our conversation. I'd love to know, what is something expensive that you have your eye on? Tell me about it. So is this something that you're upgrading to, like you need it? Or is it something that you're splurging on that you really want? Let me know. Oh, that will be a fun purchase. Well, for me, I'm thinking of investing in a new laptop for my work because mine keeps breaking down lately. Is there anything that you have invested in lately that was interesting or you would recommend? Oh, thank you so much for sharing. I love talking to you today, and I hope you have a great day. Bye. Well, great work practicing your English speaking skills today for the last 2 hours. You've got this. Don't forget to download today's long, epic, free PDF worksheet that includes the free quiz as well. This will help to test you and see if you can really remember all of the wonderful vocabulary that you just learned in today's lesson. Just click on the link in the description, enter your name and email address, and voila, just like that, the free PDF worksheet and quiz will land in your email inbox. And like I mentioned at the beginning of this lesson, you never need to sign up for my free PDF worksheets again. You sign up once and I will continue to send you my free worksheets every week. This is my gift to you. So click on the link in the description and get the free PDF worksheet and quiz today. Well, thank you so much for learning English with me. I want to know in the comments, tell me, what speaking topic would you like to learn about next? I will read your comments and I will try my best to help you speak in English as confidently and naturally as possible. Well, thank you so much. I will see you again next Friday for a new lesson here on my YouTube channel. Bye. But wait, do you want more? I recommend watching this speaking lesson next. You're going to learn how to talk about someone who hates spending money. They just never, ever want to spend money. Is that you? Well, go and watch that lesson and find out, and I'll see you there.